Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
Yes! 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 That felt great. After that brutal Sixers performance last night against Indiana, you see a real Philadelphia squad go out there and compete. The Philadelphia Flyers win 4-1 against the Boston Bruins in their first round-robin game. Mwah! It tastes so good. It tastes so good. Let's go. That was outstanding. It looked like they didn't miss a beat. That Flyer squad looked the exact same way as they did before the stoppage, and that is so important because that's the way they are going to need to play if they will succeed to win the Stanley Cup. And that Boston Bruins squad, phenomenal squad, a lot of talent. Now, I understand they had their backup goalie in Halak, and I thought that he was off his angles at times. It definitely wasn't his greatest game ever, so when you look at what they normally have in the net, Tuukka Rask, he can totally change the game without a doubt, but ultimately, I love the way that this Flyers team played. There were some hiccups along the way. There were some moments where it was, okay, hold on, fellas, let's get the feet back going again, specifically early on in the first period. I didn't think it was truly their strongest part, but one of the reasons why this team was so successful was because they stayed true to who they were. They played the system. They just stayed with it. And if they stayed with it, they knew that they would eventually crack the code. And once they did, it was all orange and black. Lovely performance. What a way to spend my Sunday afternoon, without a doubt. A lot to dive into. Before we do, this episode of Sports Talk with Broads is sponsored by Orbit Energy and Power. With over 20 years of their experience in the industry, they are home to your solar experts in both residential and commercial projects. They are dedicated to making sure your project is completed easily and properly while using high-quality materials and trained professionals to get the job done right. They even take care of all the permitting and fees right there in the office. So, make sure you check out their information. It is in the description. I did think that they were on their heels early. The Bruins came with some flow. They came with some energy. Carter Hart had to make some saves. It looked like in their D zone, the Flyers were, I wouldn't say all over the place, but at times they were working. You know, they really had to find ways to get the puck out, and they did talk about, or I know that I heard some things about the ice being a little choppy because now they're in Toronto and all of these teams are playing so much hockey that the ice is taking a beating. But regardless, whether that's a big-time issue in this game or not, I'm sure that will continue to be a conversation as these playoffs continue. But that's not a big deal for me in terms of this game because we're in the early parts of this whole entire bubble environment. So you better get used to it because it's going to be this way for a significant amount of time. They were chasing around in the D zone a bit, but they didn't allow any goals. They stayed true to their defensive mindset. The defense, stellar. Ivan Provorov, by the way, your casual 25 minutes again. I mean, it's all the guy does. And oh, by the way, if you saw him skating around in pregame warmies, the dude's got his flow going. The lettuce was beautiful, a lot smoother than mine right now. I know I'm rocking the quarantine lettuce. I used to have flow down to here. My nickname back then was Flowsy O'Donnell because that's what I rocked. I'm working on it a little bit again. You know, I got the bandana and all that, but it's nowhere even close to what Ivan Provorov is doing to that salad on his head. It's beautiful. But casually giving you 25. Matt Niskanen giving you 20. The defense was great. And if you think about the way the Flyers scored today, guess what? It started from the defense. Let's talk about the first goal and how that happened. Well, hold on. Before we get to the goals, there were some opportunities for the Flyers in the first period. Claude Giroux had a 2-on-1. I thought he was a little bit too pass happy. All around, I thought that there were moments in this game where the Flyers passed the puck where I would have loved them to shoot it. But it was a moment with Claude Giroux on a 2-on-1. He tried to make a pass. He should have ripped it on net. Without a doubt, he had so much time. He had so much space. And the way that the Bruins were defending that rush, they were kind of taking away the pass. So he forced it. He tried to thread the needle. Then Giroux on the one peeper with a rocket one-timer that cranked off the post. It was such a loud hit off the iron, and it bounced off and went in the other direction. That was a tremendous shot. It was inches away from giving the Flyers a 1-0 lead in the first period. And then Scott Lawton had a chance too as well, and Halak came up big. So while I was a little underwhelmed with that first period and the way the Flyers played, I knew about halfway through, once the Bruins did not score, I just knew. I knew that this is the style that happens for the Flyers this year. There's moments where the other team puts pressure on, but they just stay sound. They stay perfectly calm in those moments. Even if the other team gets some pressure and gets some moments, they stay calm, they stay poised. And once you realize after, say, 10, 12 minutes of the Bruins pushing and the Bruins getting some momentum, once you realize that they're not scoring, you go, uh-oh, this is playing right into the hands of the Flyers, because this is what they have done all season long. They find ways. It might not be pretty all the time, but if you're going to allow the Flyers to just play simple and let the game come to them, even if you're going to attack in waves, if you don't score, good luck, because the Flyers' depth will eventually be that X factor. The Flyers' 4 lines, roll in the 4 lines. That will eventually be what the difference maker is. When you look at the Bruins, clearly they are a great team and they do have good depth, no doubt, but obviously what they do have is Patrice Bergeron, Pastrnak, and Brad Marchand. And if you keep them off the list, off the stat sheet, you're realistically going to win. And with the Flyers, if you keep Claude Giroux, Sean Couturier, Voracek, those type of players, if you keep them off the score sheet consistently, you will still lose hockey games a lot of the time, because you have key role players stepping up. And that's a beautiful transition to what happened in that second period where, and I mentioned the defense, right? The defense being crucial into scoring these goals. Sanheim with an outstanding dish to Michael Raffl, who makes a beautiful backhand move right in front of the blue paint to give the Flyers a 1-0 lead. Now, sadly, later on in the game, Raffl went into the boards awkwardly, and I know Alain Vigneault said it looked like a slew foot, and there was that controversy last night with Matthew Tkachuk and Scheifele of the Winnipeg Jets, and they said that that was dirty as well. I don't think either of those were dirty. They were just hockey plays, and if you saw the replay, I mean, come on now. You're telling me that the Bruins did that on purpose? You're telling me he tried to slew foot him? No, they were both going for the puck. Michael Raffl looked to lose an edge a bit as he was going into the boards. It's unfortunate. Nobody wants for that to happen, especially in a game that, yes, it matters, but it's not a qualifying round type game. You saw the difference in intensity throughout these qualifying round games. These guys are fighting for the playoffs. Here, yes, they're fighting and competing for a higher seed or for a good seed, but it's not the same type of oomph as the other games. So, bringing it back to the point of this hit, it wasn't done on purpose. It wasn't dirty. It was just unfortunate. I didn't think that he meant to do it at all. He barely really even pushed him into the boards. They were both going for the puck, and Raffl somewhat kind of lost an edge there, and it's truly unfortunate. And here's the thing. He was key in this game with the goal, and he actually had an assist on Nate Thompson's goal, which was the second goal. And oh, by the way, Ivan Provorov with just unbelievable moves through the neutral zone to set that goal up. So once again, the defense being a key role in this thing, which is totally unreal to watch these young studs produce at the blue line position. But Raffl was key. But here's what I know about this team. They have depth. And even if Raffl can't play, it is a loss. Keep in mind, they don't play until Thursday, so they do have some time. And if they wanted to keep him out until the actual playoff starts, that's reasonable as well. But they have Joel Farabee sitting. And if Joel Farabee slides into this lineup, I know it's not that veteran experience. I know it's a different look. It's a different type of player, but that player can still be effective. That player can totally still play a big-time role. Now, you lose experience, right? There could be times where he might make a rookie mistake or, things can happen, but he can also provide more speed. And he can also provide more offense. Even though Raffl had 2 points tonight, this isn't who he is consistently. So I do think it's a loss, but I don't think that it's going to be to the point where the Flyers couldn't find a way to fix that issue if Raffl is out for some time. The way he went down, it looked bad, but it wasn't as if he was grimacing in huge pain. He did limp off, and it wasn't pretty by any means, but it wasn't as if, one of those. So I mentioned that goal by Nate Thompson. A nice little snap, how do you do, over the shoulder of Halak. And in the first period, Nate Thompson was throwing pucks up the middle, and I was concerned, thinking, what the hell is this guy doing? He's a veteran. He should know better. He's in his mid-30s. There's no reason to throw the biscuit right up the middle of the ice like that. Pizza delivery. But he made up for it. And that fourth line doing its thing. 2-0 Flyers, 1:09 left in the period. I got a little upset about this, but once you saw the replay, it was fluky. Wagner's behind the net, behind Carter Hart, throws the puck. He tries to do a wraparound, but he loses the puck as he tries to wrap it around. It hits off a Flyers defenseman. I think it was Hagg, and it goes in the back of the net. Only goal Carter Hart allowed. 34 saves on 35 shots. He was something else, especially late when the Bruins had their goalie pulled and they were just peppering him left and right. He was making all the saves. It was tremendous. But 1:09 left in the period. Come on, fellas, right? This was before I saw the replay. I'm grabbing my hair. Come on, you got to be smarter than this. These are the type of moments that you can't allow another team to score. In the playoffs, a minute left in the period, you can't allow another team to score. Now, this was super fluky. This was odd. It wasn't as if the Bruins just scored this tic-tac-toe beautiful play and you get mad about a defensive zone breakdown or someone allowed a man to be wide open. The dude lost the puck trying to wrap it around, and it hits off a Flyers defenseman. Very unfortunate, but luckily, who but Phil Myers, another Philadelphia Flyers young defenseman, right off the draw, comes in with a little how do you do, and rips it right past Halak over the shoulder, top shelf. Top shelf. I mean, this thing was tremendous. It was twine. Oh, twine. And in the third period, here comes Scott Lawton on a 2-on-1 with Travis Konechny, and he rips it opposite side twine. And I tweeted out, and you can follow me on Twitter at Broads81. I tweeted it out. Hey, somebody call a doctor. The Flyers have the twine flu, because that's all they were doing. They were ripping it by Halak all night long. And I'm thinking, yes, this team still has it. Yes, this is real. Yes, the Sixers make me want to cry every night, but not you, Philadelphia Flyers. Not you. 4-1 victory. 4-1 victory. And they seal the deal. Penalty kill did its thing. Did its thing against a very lethal opponent. Those guys know how to score. Those guys comprehend putting the puck in the net. And when your PK is doing all this stuff where they're aggressive, they're getting on you. They're not giving you time and space. They're taking away lanes. When they get the biscuit, they're sending it down the ice. You're not getting many second chances. Kevin Hayes. The boys. Kevin Hayes had this crazy play in the first period. I'll be honest, I didn't love it at the time, but it worked. So it's one of those, no. Yes, okay. He's diving, getting the puck away from, I forget who it was on the Bruins, but he was coming down. He had a wide open space, wide open ice. It looked like there was a breakdown defensively. And here comes Kevin Hayes out of nowhere, just diving with the stick and knocking the puck away. But if he missed that, that was a straight up breakaway for the Bruins on Carter Hart. Luckily, we got a brick wall back there, and it realistically wasn't going to be a bingo anyway. But that's the beauty of having a netminder back there like Carter. And let's talk about this. So Carter Hart officially gets a playoff start, if you will, and he was nothing short of spectacular. That was genius. That was a focused, mentally prepared start by Carter Hart. Locked in, dialed in. especially early. When that type of offense is peppering them, when they're getting offensive zone time, where they're being able to generate a little more than the Flyers, he was able to hold his ground. And I even loved what happened late. It's a 4-1 game. The Bruins pull their goalie because why the hell not? And they just are going at the Flyers left and right. And that's very reasonable when they have an extra attacker. But here he is. He's doing his thing. Not only him, he's got defensemen blocking shots in front of him, on their knees, blocking shots, doing whatever. The buy-in factor is real. Alain Vigneault's system right now has this team clicking. And I was curious, what was going to happen with this break? What type of team will the Flyers be? They were great once everything stopped, but you're off for 4.5 months. What can this team truly be? And they came out and they showed you in Pittsburgh that they still have the proper, not even mindset, but it's just their philosophy. Stay true to the game. Stay true to the system. And if you stay true to this system, it will wear down opponents because of throwing 4 lines at guys and just being able to have that depth while these young stud defensemen are being able to produce offensively. You get different players every single night. You get Raffl and Nate Thompson in this game with Provorov, Sanheim, and Phil Myers. Guess what? The next game, you might get Claude Giroux twice, Sean Couturier, and Travis Konechny. Then the following night, you get Scott Laughton, JVR, and I was going to say Justin Braun, but realistically, he's not lighting the lamp up. Aubé Cabell. You just get so many different guys. So you saw that happen against the Pittsburgh Penguins game after allowing a late goal. This was an exhibition game that didn't count. But still, you saw the same system, the same philosophy work in that game. And here it did again against arguably the best team in the NHL right now. Although they had a bad exhibition game and they had a bad game in this one. But oh my, did that get me juiced up. There's just no doubt about it. I can't hide it. It's that simple. It gets me super excited. Provorov, 24 minutes and 51 seconds. Who's your daddy? What's he do? Consistent. He was awful last year. Just flat out a disgrace. And here comes veteran Matt Niskanen. And suddenly, Ivan Provorov is just phenomenal again and knows his role. The value of having a defenseman you can be out on the ice with that you can trust. How about Robert Hagg out there? You know, what is Robert Hagg to this point? He's fighting for ice time. He's fighting for his life out there when it comes to a roster spot. There are moments where I'm like, damn, okay, Robert Hagg. Now, there are some moments where I think to myself, oof. But plenty of eyebrow raises for the positive as well when it comes to Hagg. Great defensive effort. Carter Hart starts with him. 34 saves. Come on now. And when I see a goaltender that is properly engaged, and this is before he even got called up. When we heard the name Carter Hart, I'm listening to documentaries of this kid, interviews, not so much documentaries, but interviews about the way that he approached the game in junior, about how he did everything with the Canadian World Junior team, and I just said, this guy has it. This kid, not even guy, I mean, with all due respect, he is a man, but he's a kid in terms of the NHL. This kid, he's got it. And then he steps in at his age, he's able to be dynamite. I'm sure there's going to be more growing pains. I'm sure. His road woes were growing pains this season, but ultimately, for the future of this kid, holy hell, is this going to be an exciting ride. And I just feel so strongly about this team. I feel so strong about what they can do. They're passing the eye test. They didn't skip a damn beat. How can you not be intrigued by that? Now, you can argue that maybe these teams aren't locked into these round-robin games because it's a funky feel. It's a funky vibe. They're playoff games, but they're not really. Do you want to get anybody hurt? No, you don't. You don't want to get anybody hurt anytime, but you don't want to get them hurt in these games that don't really matter, like these qualifying rounds. These qualifying rounds, they're fighting for their lives. They're trying to fight to get into the playoffs. The intensity is there. The screw you attitude with the cross checks and the wash in the face with the smelly glove, that's all there. With this round robin, are the Bruins with the same back against the wall mentality right now? You can have that argument. How are these round robin teams approaching this? It's a great question. I don't know. Would you get a different Bruins team if this was a qualifying round game? Maybe. But I'll tell you what, Bruce Cassidy sure isn't happy. Did you see the look on his face on the bench? Ooh, I would hate to be in that locker room after the game. Although I'm sure Bergeron, Chara, those type of players, I'm sure they're stepping up being more of a vocal leader as well in this whole thing. Because the Bruins, they have come out pretty flat in their first 2 games. One was an exhibition, let me be clear, and this one was the first round robin one. I hate the fact that I got to wait till Thursday to see them play again. The beauty thing about that is it goes Thursday, Saturday. So you get a little bit of a window here. Gives time to maybe understand what's happening with Raffl. Gives Carter Hart some rest. I think you got to go Carter Hart again. I do. I think you got to go Carter Hart again. First off, you won the first game, right? That's big. I think it's realistic to play this by ear because you don't know what the scenario is going to be. If they don't have a chance to get a higher seed, okay, Brian Elliott should get a chance. But you win the first game. Carter Hart was magnificent. Why not keep him in for game 2? Plenty of time, plenty of rest. This is the kid who's going to be in the playoff run legitimately anyway. Give him a shot, right? And we'll see what happens on Thursday. If they win, maybe, I don't know. I don't know if they're going to go Thursday, Saturday, back to him again. But we'll see what happens. Play it by ear. That's all I'm saying. Just see what happens. If they're in a spot to land the first seed after Thursday, could you have the argument? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what Alain Vigneault does. You know him, though. He's drinking his martinis tonight after the victory, and I'm sure he'll assess the situation accordingly. But I also can't imagine Brian Elliott getting no play. So, regardless, that's very minor at this moment. What's not minor? A beautiful Philadelphia Flyers victory against the Boston Bruins, where outside of the first period, they controlled play. They answered the bell. When they allowed a goal with 1:09 to go, who the hell cares? Here comes Phil Myers with a little ew snip. 7 seconds later? Genius, remarkable. Sign me up for another Flyers game soon. Way better than the Sixers, I'll tell you that for free. Thank you so much for listening. Remember that this episode is sponsored by Orbit Energy and Power. Their solar program helps eliminate your electric bill completely. They offer flexible financing solutions such as $0 down. There's no risk and no need for investment. Make sure you check out their information. It is in the description. Thank you so much. Go Flyers. This is a really fun thing to watch, without a doubt. If you're not enjoying this Flyers hockey run right now, then shame on you. I will see you next time.